Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium the Chairman and CEO of Chevron Corporation, David J. O'Reilly.
Good evening, everybody, and it's a great honor for me to introduce somebody tonight whom I've known for over 30 years and admired, I must admit, for many of those years also. As you look around the room, I see a lot of friends of George Keller here tonight, not to mention many representatives of the Keller clan who are seated right here at this table near the front. George Keller has been the architect and the inspiration for much of today's Chevron Corporation. It was George who coaxed our company into the modern age of open communications, who first urged us to embrace the discipline of process management and quality improvement, and who pushed our environmental standards to beyond compliance. It was George also in 1984 who led us at that time to what was the history's biggest business merger, that's Chevron and Gulf, a merger that forever changed our company and secured our future as an international energy company. But there's also another George, the George who has been a community leader in the Bay Area. The deep commitment of George and his wife Addie, their personal generosity and philanthropy, and they have provided a model in the way they have behaved for all of us. So let me tell you something about the man that we honor tonight. George was born in 1923 in Kansas City, Missouri. His family soon moved to Chicago, where he grew up. After a tragic auto accident took the life of his mother, George was raised by his aunt, a teacher, who passed on to him her love of science. George graduated first in his high school class, and in 1941 entered the Massachusetts Institute of Technology on a scholarship to study chemical engineering. While at MIT, George met Addie, the love of his life, when she visited from Wesley. And all of us regret that Addie couldn't be with us tonight, although I'm sure she's thinking of this event. During World War II, George served as an Air Force meteorology officer in the North Atlantic. He soon learned a lesson about surviving in large organizations. The wives of the brass liked to throw picnics and would call him to find out if he expected rain. I wanted to duck when they called, George told a reporter. There are few things worse than a general's wife getting wet. Recruited by Procter & Gamble, Esso, DuPont, Standard of California, George, or rather Addie, picked Standard of California, Chevron's predecessor, because her college roommate spoke highly of the Bay Area and especially highly of Chevron Corporation. George started in the engineering department and then moved on to foreign operations. He represented our company throughout the world, in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, and exhibited a natural talent for working with people of different cultures. In 1967, he became an assistant vice president for foreign operations. 7 years later, he moved up to vice chairman, and in 1981, George was named chairman and CEO. You could do business in 30 seconds with George, said one of his former colleagues. He didn't have his staff spend days studying and drafting a memo. I know that, I was on his staff. And with George, you got an immediate decision and moved on. That decisiveness paid off in 1984 when George took a seat at one of the highest stakes poker games in U.S. history. Texas oilman T. Boone Pickens had laid siege to Gulf Oil, which, to avoid Pickens, put itself up for sale. Competing against two other firms on the day of the bids, George upped his offer from $79 to $80 a share. 4 hours later, he got a call and turned to his colleagues and said, "It looks like we've bought another oil company." In a stroke, Chevron more than doubled its worldwide reserves at an estimated cost of $3 a barrel. George deftly sold off assets to reduce debt, at one point offering to auction his own desk to pay the company's debt. George retired in 1988, and he and Addie settled into their San Mateo home and became significant contributors to the community. The San Mateo Medical Center, a free clinic for the county's disadvantaged, has been among the beneficiaries. George and Addie helped found the Keller Center for Family Violence Intervention, which assists victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, and child and elder abuse. Along with the other Bay Area Council members, the Kellers sponsor the Bridge Housing Corporation, one of the nation's most successful nonprofit affordable housing developers. And finally, George and Addie have given generously to MIT and to Wellesley and to many other groups and organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, induction into the Bay Area Business Hall of Fame is bestowed upon those individuals who have lifted regional businesses to international prominence and also given back to the communities. Who could be a better example than George Keller? So please stand with me and join me in recognizing George and welcoming him into the Bay Area Council Business Hall of Fame.
Dave, thank you very much for those very kind words. I'm gratified to be associated with people who've done so much to enhance the place I love. Let me begin with a note of appreciation to those who have given me strength over the course of my career. Addie, my wife, our sons, Bill, Bob, and Barry. I'm mindful tonight of their sacrifices. I deeply appreciate all they gave up over the years, and I'm grateful for their love and support. Thank you. When you work around the world, you learn very quickly that building relationships and creating partnerships are several of the most important ingredients of success. When I spent time reflecting on the council and what it has meant to the Bay Area, it brought to mind a favorite comment from one of our Chevron board members. One evening in Scotland, after a long, cold day inspecting production platforms out in the North Sea, Carla Hills returned to me and shared an impression that I thought really captured our company. She said, "Your people seem to know each other." We've always had an inclusive culture. During tough times, those common Chevron bonds allowed us to perform at a high level. In much the same way, a culture of openness and acceptance has been the quality that has always served us so well in San Francisco. In an area as large and diverse as this one can almost agree on something, and then it's poised to make some real progress. And the ability to find common ground is the key to that success. The council instilled a maturity and determination to help the region tackle problems such as education and transportation. Strides in these areas help make this the best place in the country to live, work, and raise a family. 58 years ago in Boston, Addie and I packed up our old maroon 42 DeSoto coupe and headed west. I can still remember the excitement of the two of us as we finally rounded the last bend on old Route 30. We caught sight of that beautiful bay, and we fell in love again. To us, it represented hope, opportunity, and the youthful spirit of the West. A lot has changed since 1948, but the best things about the Bay Area haven't changed at all. Addie and I take great pleasure in the regional improvements and enhancements that we've watched, and we've been especially gratified to work alongside so many of you to build a brighter future for the Bay Area. Thank you very much for this honor.